Shalom. I just want to share some experiences I've had over the years when I was in the quote church building. Like I said, I love the people there, and I know there's good people there, so I'm not going to discredit them, but all I can do is tell you experiences. Before I get there though, I remember one time I was working for Los Angeles County Probation Department, and I was on lunch break, and it's off of Crenshaw. I forget the side street over there by Shell. I was driving. I pulled out, and as I pulled out, I saw this man head hit the steering wheel like this, and the car that shot in front of me hit a parked car, ricocheted, and flew back towards me again and missed me again and hit this truck in back of me, and it flipped over. And all this was happening like in slow motion. It really happened. I just had so many different supernatural experiences. Like I'm just gonna share a few with you. Like one time before I started working for the probation department, this was like 1992, I went to go try to get I went to Laidlaw to try to get a job there, but I didn't get the job, but I did get a CPR card, which led to me getting my own CPR business, but that's not what I'm talking about. But it led to something I needed a few days later, because I was always telling people, man, I'm gonna work for the probation department when I worked for LAX as a security guard. Then later on, I ended up being an airport police officer, and that's not what I'm talking about. But things just adding up. So I used to always tell people, because I applied, and this was like 1990, 89, something when I first applied. Then I got called in for an interview in 1990 when I actually was hired, and then then the probation department went on a freeze, and I was always saying, I'm gonna get hired by the police, I'm gonna get hired, and people were like, man, you don't get hired by the police, you've been saying that for about 3 years now. Then finally I got hired. So then, a few years later, I'm at the Crenshaw area office as a PO. So then that incident happened, and then I can also remember a time when I was walking down the street. I didn't know what I know now, but I heard when I was at Laidlaw, and this was like Pacific, somewhere like that, and at the time I lived off of 27th and Central. This is before thoughts popped into my mind, so I got to put it in the right sequence. This is before I was hired with the probation department when this incident happened. So as I was going to try to get a job from Laidlaw, and I was always had a problem with directions as far as east, west, north, and south. So as I was walking, at the time I told this young lady, I said, well, I'm going to be off at about 5, so come get me at 5. And then I got off at about 3, which was 2 hours earlier. I said, I'm not going to sit here for all this time, so I ended up walking. And then I got lost, so I said, let me just turn back around. And then I heard a voice say, don't turn around, just like you walk with Christ. You come too far now to turn back around. Now, from my understanding now, the deceptions that the world uses, but I also understand that those, if you're visited by what they call angels or different things, they're going to only talk to you by what you know. It wouldn't have made sense for them to tell me Yahusha, because I don't know nothing about, I knew nothing about Yahusha. So now another thought just popped to me. Go back when I was a child. I'm gonna get to the story though. Go back when I was a child. I used to always get up in the morning and pray to this image. You know how the traditional image of what they call Jesus. I used to always pray to this image in my auntie's room. And then one morning I got up to go pray to the image. I heard a voice say, "Get up off your knees. That is not me." So I got up off my knees and never prayed to that image again. But yet again, I didn't know that his name was Yahusha. So y'all can only work with you where you at. You know, so then speed the story back up. I was attending this church that I mentioned that's no longer there, that I had dreamed about. They're still operating, but they're no longer there the way I envisioned them being there. So they don't exist anymore like that. Their true colors to me has shown. So I used to always feel like I was always mistreated or treated differently. You know, there was other, you know, that treated me with love, but I always felt there was something strange. Like one time I came outside and somebody had put some a plate of hot wing bones on top of my car. You know, on the platter, like instead of throwing the trash, they put the platter with the bones on top of my car. So stuff like that. And I was like, why are people all acting like this? You know, I didn't know. And then another time, right before I became aware of what is going on, this gang stalking stuff, I was riding in the car with this gentleman who calls himself the pastor, and this other gentleman. I was in their car, and then all of a sudden, this man's tire flew off, and right in front of us. But it's like we were going in slow motion, just like the time I told you before with the other incident. The man's tire flew off, and it's like all that happened in slow motion. The wheel went across the whole lane, because he is over at the divider on the right against the wall. His tire flew off and came all the way to the left in front of us and just flew off the side of the thing. And all this happened like in slow motion, and I was like, wow. And then one time the gentleman came to visit, and he made a comment. He says, usually people don't let me in. But you know, these are people I've been knowing and stuff like that, and hung out with and fellowship with. But now that I think about it, that comment was kind of strange. Usually people don't let me in. Man, it's just a bunch of stuff that's been going on. And like I said, these type of things have been going on my whole life. Like I said, when I was younger, I used to get those situations where sleep paralysis. I should get that. And I think I told you about before, one time it's like it was pulling me into a deep sleep, and I focused on the light and I said, in the name of Jesus, and then I pulled out of it. And then I'm trying to think of some more stuff. One time I was living on, this is like right 1980, I mean 2006. I think I had left the camp, and that's when I first started working in the Crenshaw area office. And I was seeing this young lady and her son. We were in the living room watching TV, and her son came up out the room because he was asleep. You know, and he said, he called me by the given name. He said, your grandmother was here? And it shook me. I said, this boy's like 4 years old. He don't know nothing about my grandmother. Then later on that evening, I was in the bed asleep, and I used to sleep with my feet out the covers, and something literally hit my foot, like slapped it. And I was like, man, it's just a whole bunch of supernatural stuff that's been happening in my life since I was young. So I believe I've experienced the supernatural from both sides. I believe what they call angels. I've literally seen it and talked to them unaware, and I've actually been visited and not necessarily talked to them, but the other side has shown their presence too, and they're still showing their presence. That's what we've seen now through this program, I believe. But they've been around the whole time, and something about us, like this one show that I was listening to one time on YouTube. He says they've been waiting for our arrival on this planet, in this existence, and it's not necessarily, I don't believe, the evil you've done or the good you've done, because there's people in this earth. He's always fallen short of the glory of Yah. All of sin and falling short of His glory. So I think it's beyond that. There's something else to it, because there's some evil people I know. Nobody following them. So, and then, like I said, that comment by the man that said he was a pastor. He says, yeah, people don't let me in. Oh, there's one more thought I want to share. I'm all around the place, but I'm just talking as the thoughts come. Right before this situation happened, I used to always get this thoughts for like 2 or 3 days in a row when I was over one of the guys I call my friend house. And I used to always, I was hearing his voice about 2 or 3 days in a row, like get up and go home and go pray. So I would go ahead and do that. And then right before my eyes really awakened to what's going on, I felt this. All right, I'm gonna make it part 1, part 2, because I'm running out of time.